Hi, welcome to this edition of 10 in 10, where we look at 10 things in 10 minutes. Today we're going to look at 10 programs that come already loaded on your Macintosh computer. Now, we really could spend a 10 in 10 on each one of these programs, so we're going to give like a really high-level view of what each one of these programs is and does. So we're not going to delve deeply into it, but hopefully this will just whet your appetite to go a little bit more deeply into these programs. So let's go ahead and start our timer. There we go. We've got 9 minutes, 57 seconds to go, so let's look at our first program. The first program is called Pages, and Pages is a word processing program. Whenever you turn on almost any of these programs, you'll get your Finder window come up. We're going to start with New Document here, so you can actually see some of the templates that are already built in. You can see that there's quite a few templates built in for you and your students. One of the ones that are more interesting to me, at least, are these poster templates. And students can, of course, change the pictures that are in those. They can do cards, like poster cards, things like that, certificates, newsletters, of course. You can actually do those newsletters. They're kind of the templates already built in. But what's really interesting to me is that you can actually even build a book, a digital book in there and publish it. And your students can actually publish those. So Pages is a really nicely set out, easy to use word processing program. I think that third graders and up could easily figure out Pages. So that's our first program. Let's quit out of there. Let's look at our second program. Our second program is Numbers. Numbers is the Apple equivalent of Excel. It's a spreadsheet program. There you go. And there's like unlimited number of things that you can do in a spreadsheet program. Collecting data from a science lab or collecting data from all different kinds of things. Anything that you can do in Excel, you can pretty much do in Numbers. Just Numbers is a little bit easier to navigate. And what's neat to me about Numbers, at least, is that you can add spreadsheets inside of spreadsheets. So you can pop graphs on top of a spreadsheet. It's really easy to use. Again, you can tell just by looking at it. It's very user-friendly. It's spread out so that you're not going to be intimidated like a typical spreadsheet program is. So that's Numbers. Numbers is the next program that comes already loaded onto your Mac. The next one that a lot of people are familiar with is Keynote. Keynote is the presentation program that comes with your Macintosh. It's kind of like PowerPoint. If you're familiar with PowerPoint, then you're pretty familiar with Keynote. Again, to me at least, it's a lot easier to use. Here's the templates that are already built in to Keynote. If you just turn one on here and say choose, you can see that it's very easy to navigate through. And so that's one of the benefits, I think, for our students, is that all of these programs are very, very easy to navigate through, and so that you don't have to be a computer whiz to figure out how to use a fairly complicated program. So that's Keynote. The next one is probably one that a lot of our students are already familiar with, and that's iMovie. And iMovie is designed to make movies. And so you can see I've got a few movies already built, but if you've done any one of our other 10 in 10s, you can see that I've actually do our 10 in 10s here in iMovie. But to create a new project, it just asks you, do you want to make a movie or a trailer? Students love the trailers, by the way. If you've never made a trailer in iMovie, that's a great way to introduce our kids to video editing. But if you make a movie, this is what it looks like, and I'm not going to go into it really how to do that, but it's a pretty neat program. If your kids are into video, or if you'd like your students to start creating videos, this is a great way to do it. And it doesn't all have to be Steven Spielberg produced type things. They can be very simple 1-minute, 2-minute movies. Next one is GarageBand. GarageBand is a program that most people think has to do with music, and it certainly is very heavy into music. However, you don't have to be a musically minded person to do it. You can actually make podcasts, so you can record voices and do interviews inside of GarageBand. It even has some learn to play things where you can learn some kind of intro to guitar and intro to piano. But it's like a pretty easy program to get to learn. I would encourage students just to play around with it. You really can't hurt it too much. You can't hurt it at all, as a matter of fact. So if you're interested in making a hip hop song for some reason, you click on hip hop. I just randomly clicked hip hop, by the way, and this is what happens. And so you can see that it already builds kind of it for you, and then the kids come in and start adding to it. And so here, without doing anything, I've already got my first song going there. And there's all these different kinds of drum beats and synthesizers and loops already built into it. So it's very easy for a student to build a song in GarageBand. Let me show you just really quickly how easy it is. I want to go out and grab, I don't know, let me go grab I'm going to grab a Southern rock organ. I'm going to drop it in here. I already have my drummer already in there. And let's see, maybe I'll add something else here. So let's see what that sounds like just by, I haven't done anything. So I've made some music there with a hip hop beat and a Southern rock organ. So you can see me with absolutely no knowledge of music can actually make something pretty quickly in GarageBand. Next program that's really neat to work with is Notes, and it's a note-taking program. And it's really neat because you can dictate. By the way, anywhere where you can write in a Macintosh, you can dictate. Let me show you how that works. Just press the function key twice, your dictation comes up. And once it turns on, you can say, hey, here's a great way to dictate some things into a note. And there you go. I'm going to turn that off because it actually will dictate everything that it says. You can see that you can add attachments. You can actually write in there. You can make a new note. You can add a table if you wish. It's pretty impressive note-taking program. You can add attachments to your note. You can drag and drop pictures. For instance, I can just take this picture, drag it in there. Now all of a sudden I've got this picture in my note. Okay, so that's Notes. That comes on your Macintosh. All of these, by the way, come free on your Macintosh. Preview, if you haven't seen our 10 and 10 on Preview, you really need to check that out. There's like a ton of things you can do in Preview. One of them, of course, is just reading PDF files. Here's a PDF file. You can mark them up. You can mark up JPEG files. You can do some basic photo editing, make some memes with it, some really cool stuff. Preview is one of the most powerful programs, I think, on the Macintosh environment. So check out the 10 and 10 on Preview that we've done earlier. Oops, I don't want to print that out. Cancel that out. I want to quit is what I want to do. Quit that. So that's Preview. The next one up is Photos. Photos is a great photo management program. There's my son, Garrison. You can see him. He pops up. So you can see I've got some pictures of the maker spaces that we're making at some of our campuses. It holds an unlimited number of pictures. You can see I just got tons and tons and tons. You can see my whole family, my whole life is here in these pictures here. My grandson, my whole family. And so you can keep those in. And then what's really neat about this is that students can actually make books and photo books. So I'm going to highlight just a few of these things. I go up to File and I say Create. I can actually, what's kind of cool is I can also create slideshows. Here's my slideshow and I can just play it. You can see how quickly it creates a slideshow. This is my slideshow of the makerspaces. So that's a pretty cool thing. So kids can make slideshows really quickly. They can even make books inside of photos. Next one up is Maps. Maps is a really interesting program. I wanted to show you one thing that's really cool in Maps. If you type in a city that's famous, like New York, New York, it has these things called 3D flyovers. And let me show you this really quick. You can see that it'll actually fly over the city. This is just an amazing tool. So if you're like reading about a city in a class, you can actually have a flyover. You can actually have them go to that city. It's really neat. So you can do that for the whole city. Maps is really cool. It's very similar to Google Maps, so you can get distances, all that kind of stuff. And you can print out what you're looking at. So let me quit that out. Running out of time. Only got 30 seconds left. So what's that? After Maps is Photo Booth. Photo Booth is a great program for taking quick photos like this. You can also do quick videos, and it's got built-in special effects. The kids love these special effects, and so just to play with those, they're great fun. Ooh, only got 8 seconds left. Let me tell you about Siri. Siri's the only other program, and it'll do what Siri does, just like on